If your culture is really important to you, shouldn't it somehow be included in your performance reviews? Sounds logical, but you may be wondering, well, how do you actually do that? Let me suggest a simple approach in this video that we did in my own company and one that many of our clients use. Let me first say that culture obviously isn't the only thing that's being covered. I mean, no doubt there are specific performance goals and expectations that you're reviewing. But once again, if culture is important, it needs to be there somewhere. I mean, if I were sitting down with my manager to do a performance review and nowhere in the discussion was there any mention at all of our culture, well, what conclusion would I come to other than it's probably not very important? The second thing I'd say is that in order to have a substantive conversation about how the team members living to our culture, we need to have a lot of clarity about exactly what we want our culture to be. And if you're a regular follower of what we teach at CultureWise, you know that we suggest you define your culture in terms of specific behaviors, or as we call them, fundamentals. Because behaviors are actions, they're much easier to teach and coach and give people feedback about. It's pretty hard to coach somebody about their values. All right, we get that. So how do you do it? Well, here's what I would suggest. Well, we certainly want everybody to practice all our fundamentals. For each position, there's likely some fundamentals that stand out more than others. I would select the maybe 4 to 6 fundamentals that are most important for each position, and I would write a description of what it looks like to do this well. Let me give you an example. For the fundamental honor commitments, your description might say, the person does what she says she's going to do when she says she's going to do it. That's what we mean by honoring commitments. So you write a description like that for each of the relevant fundamentals. And then the manager evaluates the employee, and the employee evaluates herself according to the following scale. Almost always does this, usually does, sometimes seldom, or never. I like to use a scale like this rather than a numeric scale because one person's 5 is another person's 4. These descriptors are much more useful. I also prefer almost always rather than always so that we avoid that person who says, well, nobody's perfect. Yeah, I know, but that's not what we meant. So almost always works better. Each person's evaluation then serves as the basis for a useful discussion. I also suggest that you have the team member identify 1 or 2 fundamentals that she wants to work on improving over the next 3 or 6 months and ask her, what's your plan for making this improvement? And how can I, as your manager, best support you in your work? Well, there you have it. That's a pretty simple but concrete way to build your culture into your performance review process. I hope that's helpful. Let us know if you'd like to talk more about this or any other aspect of practicing fundamentals.